So I'm Magne, and I look after the PGCAP, which is Postgrad Certificate in Academic Practice, and that's a master's level programme for most of the new academics at the university. So they come in, some of them have PhDs, some of them have got masters, and some come straight from industry and really haven't been in academia for a long time. So we have quite a range of participants on the programme. It's a year-long programme. We have about 60 to 80 people each year. One of the things we try and do on the PGCAP, because of its nature, is introduce new members of staff to the technologies that are available that they can use with their students as they start teaching on their programmes. So we try and use a whole range of things, and one of those obviously is PebblePad. The particular thing we were using it here for was one of the assignments that we do. And previously it's been offered just as a written assignment that they do in a Word document, and they stick all their appendices and their attachments at the end of that and then submit it electronically to us in that format. And we decided to use the web folio, which is one of the tools in PebblePad, so that they could construct it in a different way. And some people might have done that bit by bit by bit, which you can do in a web folio. And also it kind of looks more creative. It looks like a website, looks like web pages. And for those who have been really used to writing in an academic style, it's kind of a different way of presenting things. For those who are new to academic writing, it could potentially offer them a little bit more structure if they wanted it. And it got them used to using the PebblePad technology, which of course they can then use with their students as well, so it acts as a familiarisation exercise too. Well, it's always good because apart from introducing our new staff to it, obviously my team have to get to grips with all of these technologies that we use as well. So every year we try and use one new thing. This year we were using two, I think 2 or 3. All right, what was really helpful was having the learning technologist support that we did. And that was great because there were things like setting up gateways. So if it's an assessed piece of work, you have to have a gateway so that you can have a submission date and lock it down after the submission date. And we needed help for the initial setup of that kind of thing. So having the LT support was great. We also had a sandpit set up for us, which we could play in, and that was a really good plan as well because it meant that tutors got to kind of upload draft things and have a bit of a dummy run, and then also see how they could put comments, how they mark it, how that feeds back to the students, and all those kind of practical processes that you really don't know about until you try it. So I'd really recommend that people get a sandpit and have a play before an actual real run, particularly if it's an assessed piece of work, and the learning technologists are great to help and support that. Yeah, the pros, one of the things I liked about it was that 2 of the tutors on that module for which it was being assessed were able to release examples of a web folio to the participants on the course, and that was really nice because myself and Sharon Geddy released examples. Mine was very structured and it said, and on this you could do this, and on that page you could do that, and don't forget to include this. And Sharon's did it a different way by showing them a range of different tools they could use. So within PebblePad you have action plans, you have SWOT analysis, you've got blogs, they can hyperlink to attached documents and appendices, that kind of thing. So they had a couple of examples before they even got started of what it potentially could look like. So that's a definite advantage, and goes with the proviso, of course, that they can develop their own structure so that each one is unique, which is really nice. The other advantage too was the choice element. So they were still able, if they wanted to as participants, to do it in a Word document, and many did, and submitted it in the old-fashioned way electronically as a Word document. But the element of choice was really appreciated, particularly by those who did use it, so that they could just do something a bit more creative, and that went down well. The downsides, I suppose you have to get used to the technology, and although it might be a downside in the short term, in that you've got to learn how it works, in the long term it's great because then you've got another resource at your fingertips that you can use when you think it might be appropriate to use it. There are a couple of other things, I guess, that just need to be worked out. And in terms of the marking, so we had a formative deadline and a gateway for that, and then we had a summative deadline and a separate gateway for that, because that seemed to work best for us. And we discovered at formative stage that you do need to lock it down so that the feedback doesn't go bit by bit by bit to the student. If you lock it down, you can write all of your feedback and then release it all. If you've got multiple markers on the modules, so multiple tutors marking the work, it does restrict. If you lock it down, it means that you have to wait until all the markers have given their feedback and then you release it, which in a way I guess is fairer for the students, but it can be frustrating if you want to get things out quickly. For the summative, that worked really well because you just lock it down, they all get their results at the same time. So just those kind of little teething issues as you kind of learn your way around and how to use it. The other thing that differs too between the Word document choice and the PebblePad choice is that in the Word document, one thing that we've been doing, because we give our feedback electronically, is that you have the in-text bubbles and you can relate your feedback to a specific line of text. And that's been great in Word. In PebblePad it doesn't quite work like that. The feedback comes at the bottom of the page, so you have to be a bit specific about what you're commenting on, which can take slightly longer. But both have their advantages. It's been quite interesting to use it, quite fun from the team's point of view. From our participants who have said are new academics and therefore working with students, we try and introduce them to a range of technologies. So on our programme we use things like Tulip, and we use that quite innovatively. We use lots of videos, Aspire reading list, the interactive reading list, that kind of thing. So PebblePad is just another one of those technologies. And so it's quite useful for them to get to grips with and actually have a hands-on experience of how that works and try and build something in there. One of the other nice things about it too is for the markers, when you get piles of marking coming in, sometimes it all looks quite similar, and with a PebblePad web folio they can create a different look and the structure can also be quite different, and that's really nice for the markers point of view, but from the participants point of view it's also quite a creative process, and for some of our participants that's a really important part of what they do in terms of putting assignments together. So it's just kind of nice to show them that there are those examples out there that they can use with their students as well.